Hi, I'm Gary and welcome to my shop. In this video I'm going to show you how I install a Carter quick release for releasing the tension on the bandsaw blade. Makes it easy to release the tension and put it back on again quick and easy, so you don't forget and leave it on all the time and then wind up getting your blade out of shape. I'll move on and show you how to do this. Okay, first two steps is going to be to take this blade guard off here that protects it there, and then to remove this wheel. This blade guard's just got two small screws in it that I'll remove with the screwdriver. Sure to set these aside and don't lose them. And that comes right off. Set that aside. Now the wheel, there's a nut on here, and that's a 3/4 inch wrench or socket. Don't need this open. Of course, all you have to have the blade off and everything before you do all this. So let's see. Get this to come off. Certainly not done there. So just crank it. Okay. Break the nut loose. And then be careful with this wheel. Let me come a little bit more. Since this is like a cast aluminum, you don't want to drop it, because that could put a nick in it and put it out of balance, or you could break it. And a little bit snug coming off the shaft. Even pull gets it off. So okay, I'll set that aside along with the nut. Okay, so we got this open, got the wheel off. Next we need to take this piece out of here, and we'll take out these two screws, and there's a bolt on here and a bolt on here we'll take out. These two screws are Phillips. Just take them out easily. Small pieces, don't lose them. Now, for getting these others off, this one on this side, now this is metric sizes here. So this is a 17mm like nut that this clip for the door catches on. I'll just break that loose, unscrew that. And this one here is a 14mm. And it's got some flats on here. It's mostly a round like peg, but it's got a couple of flats there we can fit a wrench on and get that loose. And then get that off. Hold this as we do it so we don't lose anything. Okay, and this one. There's a washer in the back of that. Okay, and this comes right off. I can set that aside. Okay, set these parts aside so you don't lose them. Next we take out the band tensioning device, which is this assembly, and that comes up, comes out, and then remove this tensioning knob from it altogether. Okay, save that, set it aside. Now that I've got this cleared out, here we have the saddle that I'm going to set this riser mechanism into, this easy lift riser. It will sit in the cradle there, and if I can get this to show up in the image here, it's got rounded parts on this side and rounded on this side, so that when it sits in there like this, it sits into the saddle, such as that. And what I'll do is I'm going to go to the other side and mark up the holes for the screws or the bolts that have to go into this to mark or mount this into this frame. And what I'm going to do is get this so it sets level, not level with this because that's off, but level basically with the ground plane, as we usually go level by. And then I'll mark up the holes and drill those. So I'll do that next. As I've shown from the other side, and this is the opposite side now of this, I sat this in here in this cradle, or in the saddle, and what I want to do is line this up so that this top part is sitting fairly level on a horizontal plane, or a ground plane, so that we know we're level, because sometimes our floors are sloped and we can't go by that all the time. And then what I did is I took a white pencil, marked the holes where I wanted to drill the holes at, and then I extended these lines down from the holes to track around to the other side, see where I'm going to wind up on the other side, and whether or not I'm going to be hitting into any of those ribs that are on the other side inside this casting. And I got to be very close, so there was not enough room to use the nuts that came with this for securing these bolts in here. So what I had to do is to drill these holes out to be able to tap them to a 1/4 by 20 tap size or thread size, and then I'll be using that to hold this bracket in place. Came in very close, and I was very precarious doing that. I didn't get into the ribs very much at all, but so close to them that it was not going to be possible to fit the nut and so forth on the back side of that. Next, I will get this bolted into place. So here, I got these lined up, I got those holes drilled out, got them tapped out, and I'm going to do these, start these screws in here. And they're kind of a convex shape because the shape of this hole here. Now, in this one screw on this side, because I hit so much more into the ribbing in there, I had to shorten the screw a little bit by about a 1/4 inch so I could be able to get that in there for as far as I was able to tap it. And then this takes a 4mm Allen wrench to tighten these screws in, or these bolts. They get snugged and get the other one in so they get themselves situated in there. Then give them a final tightening. But because this is a cast steel, I don't want to over tighten it and crack anything. So I just go to very tight, or not snug. And that's mounted in there. So now I can put this together and put the other part in here on the saddle that adjusts the band tension. I got the new spring put on here, nice yellow color, so I can easily see where my tension level is at in there. And this nut, just had to unscrew this nut, put the spring on, put this nut back on a bit, and it will fit up into there, and this holds the nut into place so it doesn't spin on you. Then it's just a matter of setting this up here into the grooves for that saddle, and that'll be good. Then when this is actuated, it moves it up to different levels. Actually, this unit will be fastened in place while this moves the spring up and down, and then you can adjust the tension accordingly. So once I get the screws out of the other cover put back on, this will stay a lot more stationary and in place. Alright, so I've got the wheel back on, the nut on, and it's spinning just fine, and kind of cleaned off some of the sawdust on it as long as I got it apart. Okay, next I'm going to put this blade guide on. Opening needs to be on the outside here, so Let's flip the blade in. Okay, that's good. Next I'll put the blade in. I'll do that and then come back and see how it all runs. One of the issues I ran into that I had to make a modification here, which was pretty easy, was putting this knob and threaded bolt back in. Ran into an obstruction with this plate on here that is from this quick release mechanism that's installed here now. That raises things up a bit from where it was before. So when you get that in there far enough, the knob runs into the edge there and won't go any further. It won't give you the right kind of tilt that you need. The wheel tilt is, of course, to adjust bandsaw blade tracking on the wheels. So I had to get something longer. Thankfully, this is a standard American size, and it's a 5/16 thread by 18. And I'll get this out here. Now, something I'll point out here quickly is I send this replacement knob along with it that you can put in, but it fits some of the other bandsaw types because it's got a metric thread. It's a 8mm thread by 1 1/4 thread pitch, and that doesn't fit because this is a 5/16 thread, 18 pitch, and I didn't want to tap out this in order to fit the metric one. And they give you the metric one for some other bandsaws like I think Rikon and some other brands that are probably made in Japan. And so when I went to the store and I bought a threaded bolt, it's threaded all the way up, and I had a knob handy and from some other resource that it's where you just put a bolt into it and it sits in there and locks in. And then I took the wing nut off the other one and put it on here. I also had to file down the tips of these wings on the edges here because they were running into this plate here of this body of this mechanism. So I bought this at 4 inches. I also bought a 5-inch bolt just in case it wasn't long enough. But this, turned out great. The knob will go in and do the job it needs to do and still be extended out past this mechanism here so I can operate the knob and get this tightened down correctly and adjusted. And as far as any interference with this, as you can see, there is none. So that's not an issue. So I get that in, and then I can get this wing nut in there and get it filed down a bit that it'll spin and fit past this housing here. So that fixes that workaround that I had to do. Okay, so I've basically got this done with the exception of adjusting my bearings again yet and putting the tabletop back on too. And then all of my accessories that I'd stuck to this with magnets. But this works great, spins really well, runs well, and I'll turn this on and let you see and hear how it runs. Very good. Very nice, yes. And one of the other quirks I ran into here, I don't know if this would be number 4 or what, was with this quick tension release. I could not go, there's one step further to go up, but because the quick release mechanism on here, it raises this adjuster up a bit, so I can't get this to go up to the next step without creating awful lot of tension. And with the wheels, whether they're rubber or polyurethane, you think as these are, they get kind of compressed a bit, and then you lose your ability to keep the blade on track on the wheels. So you got too tight, it's just not going to work. But I can still release this. Right now I got good tension on it. It almost sounds like a guitar string. I don't know what key it's in. So, but get down here, then it totally releases, and it's totally easily, I can get this blade off and switch it out for another blade. So that works great. Here, it's tight. Sounds like a bass tone, huh? Alright, well, I'm done with this, so thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it and you got some inspiration to maybe put on a quick release for your blade tension on your bandsaw. If you did enjoy it, please give me a thumbs up, hit the thumbs up icon. Also, share it with your family, friends, and fellow craftsworkers. And be sure to hit the subscribe button to subscribe, and also the bell. Make sure you get notifications so you don't miss out on anything. You never know with what I'm going to come up with next. Also, please give us your comments. We'd love to hear what you have to say, what you're interested in, and what you would like to see. As they say on the Red Green Show, if the ladies don't find you handsome, at least they should find you handy. Thank you.